Hello everyone and welcome to today's session on what is EKS in AWS. Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service is a managed Kubernetes service that makes it easy for you to run Kubernetes on AWS and on premises. Kubernetes is an open source system for automating deployment, scaling, and management of containerized applications. In this session, you will learn all about Amazon EKS and all its components. So without further ado, let's start the session. But before we begin the session, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you'll never miss any update from us.
In this particular session, we'll be taking a look at how we can create an Amazon EKS cluster. So Amazon EKS stands for Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service. With this particular Elastic Kubernetes service, we can create certain clusters as master node, worker nodes, and we may even connect our command line tools such as kubectl to communicate with the control plane that is our master node. Now, in order to create this Amazon EKS, we have certain prerequisites, which are basically our IAM roles, our kubectl, which is our command line tool that will communicate with the control plane, and the last one is basically the AWS CLI. So let's take a look how we can basically get all these prerequisites done. So going forward with the AWS CLI, we can download the AWS CLI by right clicking over here, and this will take us to a particular documentation. Now we'll be working onto the Windows machine, so I'll click on the Windows and I have to click on this particular link, which would basically download the AWS CLI. This AWS CLI is an installer version, so you can simply install this particular AWS CLI onto your machines. Now in my case, I already have installed the AWS CLI, so let me just show you AWS version. Now this AWS CLI is of the version 2.4.23. Now moving on to the second prerequisite, which is our kubectl. This particular kubectl will be going with the documentation over here, and we have to download the latest kubectl at the time of recording this video. So at the time of recording this video, we have the Kubernetes of the version 1.21. Let me quickly copy this particular link and copy this particular command, and I'll go to the terminal, I'll paste it over here. Now what it does is basically it downloads my kubectl.exe file onto this particular directory. Now we need to copy and paste this kubectl.exe into a bin folder in the C drive, something like this. We have a particular folder, which is our bin folder, which exists into the C drive of this particular machine. Now over here, I need to copy that kubectl.exe, and I will be doing so once the download is completed. Okay, so now that the download has been completed for this kubectl.exe, so let's take a look. This is our kubectl.exe. Let me simply copy this kubectl.exe to C bin. Now if I go over here, I can find a kubectl executable file. Now how to check that the kubectl is working fine? We'll write down kubectl and we'll hit enter. It should be providing us with all the options that are there. Example, kubectl apply, kubectl refresh. All these options are available with the kubectl, and henceforth the kubectl, we can say that the kubectl has been installed properly. Okay, so now that we have the AWS CLI and we have the kubectl as well, let us talk about the last and the final prerequisite, which is the IAM role. So IAM permissions are basically allocated with the help of certain roles, and these roles are attached to certain services. In our case, we require two such IAM permissions, one for creating a master control plane and another one for the worker nodes. So there are two distinctive things. One is the master, one is the worker. We require IAM roles for the master with a different kind of a permission, and to the worker with a different kind of a permission. We will be looking into the IAM when we'll be creating these clusters. Okay, so now that we have understood all the prerequisites, we have installed our AWS CLI and we have installed our kubectl, let us quickly move on to our AWS console. So this is our AWS management console. I'll search for EKS. So this is the Elastic Kubernetes service. Okay, so right now I am inside the Ohio region. I'll click on add cluster. I'll click on create. Now let me quickly provide a name to this particular cluster. I'll write down Intellipaat Demo EKS. Now the version of this particular Kubernetes is 1.21. Now at the moment of time, I do not have any such roles that I can allocate, so I have to create the roles. Okay, so let me quickly duplicate this particular tab and I have to go to the IAM services. So let me quickly search for IAM. Now in this particular IAM, I have to create a role. So I'll select the roles. I'll click on create role. Let me scroll down. Now, what are the common use cases? So normally a role is being connected to an EC2 instance or with the Lambda. So I'll select the EC2. I have to select over here EKS, and inside the EKS, we will be selecting the EKS cluster. I'll click on the next. So this is the permission that we are allocating. I'll click on next and we have the role name. So this will be role EKS cluster demo. So let this be the name of this particular role. I'll scroll down. I'll click on create role. So a role will be created for us. Now, if I go over here, let me quickly refresh and search for that role. Role EKS cluster demo. Now this is the role that we have just now created. Now let me scroll down. I'll click on next. Now it will be the demo VPC and it will be the default VPCs and all the default subnets that come under this particular VPC. I'll select all the three of them. Now coming to the SG, that is a security group. I can create a new security group. I may even go with the default. So I'm going to select the default. This is the default SG. Okay. So I'll click on the next and these are all the things that we require. I'll click on create. So this would basically create our Intellipaat demo EKS cluster. Now, meanwhile, this is basically in the creating state. It will definitely take up some particular time to create this cluster. Meanwhile, what we can do, we have to execute certain commands onto our terminal. This is the first command. Now, let me quickly modify a couple of things. Currently, we are not working on the US East one. It is US East 2, which is the Ohio. The name of the cluster is not Intellipaat demo. Rather, let me quickly take the name Intellipaat demo EKS. Okay, so I'll select this particular command and let me quickly paste it over here. Now we are expecting active over here. That basically signifies that our cluster is in the active state. So let's wait till then and then we'll continue on to the next steps. Okay, so let us quickly check the status once again. So I wrote the command once again and the status of this cluster is active. So this basically confirms that we can move forward with the next steps in which we have to create the nodes for this particular cluster. Now, before moving forward, we have one more command to run and let me quickly update this command as well with the region and the name of the cluster. So the name of the cluster is this Intellipaat demo EKS. Okay, so I've copied it and I'm pasting it over here. Okay, so now if I write down kubectl get svc, we should be getting the Kubernetes cluster IP service. So here we have the Kubernetes cluster IP service. It is of the cluster IP kind and this is the cluster IP port. Fine. So now what we can do, we can basically go ahead and add our worker nodes to this particular cluster. So let me get inside this particular cluster. At the moment of time, we do not have any nodes. You can take a look. There are no nodes over here. I'll go to the configuration. I'll click on compute. I'll click on add node group. So over here, let me just write down node group 1. Now again, I do not have any such IAM roles, so I have to create the IAM roles. So over here, let me quickly create on the roles and over here, I'll select EC2. So there are certain roles that we require and these are those roles. First of all, EKS CNI. So let me quickly select this one, EKS. Yeah, we require this particular role. And along with this role, there are two other permissions that we require. First is the EKS worker node policy. This is the role that we are looking for. And there is yet another role with the name, which is the ECR. Okay. So over here, we do not require the administrative access. We only require the read-only access for the ECR. So let me quickly select this and I'll scroll down. I'll click on the next. Let me quickly write down a name for this particular role. So I'll just write down role node EKS. Okay. So this is the role name. I'll scroll down and these are the permissions that we have allocated. I'll click on create role. Now that we have created a particular role, we'll go back to the EKS and let me quickly refresh and select this particular role. Okay, so this is the role that we require, role node EKS. Okay, now I'll scroll down and click on next. And over here, let me quickly select what kind of instance do we require. So we require a t2.micro because the t2.micro is a free tier instance and this is a demo tutorial. So thereby I'm just selecting the t2 micro, but in the production, definitely there will be a different kind of a configuration that will be required for this cluster. Now let me just write down 10 GBs of the disk space over here for these worker nodes. And this is basically the node group scaling. The minimum will keep as 2 for the default and the maximum 2 as well. And the desired value is the 2. I'll scroll down. I'll click on next. Now we want to keep it in the default. You can definitely change it with a custom made subnet and the VPC. But hereby I'm just going with the default subnets. I'll click on the next and I'll click on create. Okay, so basically what is happening is that our node groups are getting created. You can take a look. This node group is in the creating state. Now how to check that, what is the status? How to live check that? What is the status of this particular node group? I'll go to the terminal and I'll write down kubectl get nodes -- watch. So over here, with the help of -- watch, kubectl get nodes will return all the nodes that are active at the moment with its status. Is it active or is it in the ready state or is it in the not ready state? The -- watch will basically provide us all the informations that we require, as in this particular node is in the not ready, and certainly we will be having 2 such nodes with us. One with this particular IP and this is a second node which has this IP. So at the moment of time, both of the nodes are not ready. Let's wait till these both nodes get into the ready state. Okay, so we can take a look that, both these particular nodes are currently into the ready state. So let me just close this particular process and I'll run another command, kubectl get nodes. And what is the output? The output is that both these nodes are right now in the ready state. So with this, we have completed the Kubernetes EKS, the Amazon EKS cluster creation demo. Thank you all for watching this particular video. Thank you.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud and DevOps, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification in cloud computing and DevOps by ENICT Academy IIT Roorkee, and it is taught by IIT Roorkee professors and industry experts. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job.